All righty, we're live. You hear me loud and clear?
I hear you, Murph. What's going on, pal?
Oh, not too much, not too much. So we're here tonight, and we're going to mostly discuss the Yankees, and that's absolutely going to be the topic of discussion for the evening. But since we haven't spoke for a little while, what do you got on your mind? What's going on?
Um, just a brain fog, Rich. Um, I was watching the game the other night, Saturday night game 5, and the first thing that came to mind was my dad. My dad was
Okay.
a big Yankee fan. He was a Dodger fan. Dodgers moved to LA. He said, "Screw the National League. Giants moving, Dodgers moving. Get out. I'm a Yankee fan." And he got me. He got me hooked on the Yankees. 1976. We walked in that cathedral in the Bronx, and I remember the first view I got. It was Old Timers Day, and the first view I got was that sparkling blue of Yankee Stadium, the seats and everything. Old Timers Day, Mickey Mantle, Whitey Ford, Joe DiMaggio. I mean, what a dose to first Yankee game to see all these heroes basically who he grew up with, my dad and stuff like that. And the game ended. Soto hit the home run, and I'm kind of waiting for the phone to ring, but it never did. We have to face reality sometimes. My dad passed away 2 years ago. I know he's watching from above, but I remember those calls when the Yankees would win a lot, and they did win a lot of World Series in the time that me and him were around, from 78, 77, 78. And of course, we went through a big gap there. And then, of course, in the 90s, 2000 with the Mets and 2009 with the Phillies. But, it's been 15 long years, Rich. And I
Yeah.
learned one thing about sports is never take anything for granted, because when the Yankees won that World Series in 2009, who would have thunk it would take 15 years to get back to the World Series? I mean, there were some failures along the way. LCS losses to the Astros, Tigers, just some bad showings and stuff. The Astros were like who's your daddy to the Yankees. But and I know a lot of people are saying that, I know we'll talk some other stuff. We got a lot to talk to, but I know they said the Yankees backed their way into the World Series basically by playing Cleveland and Kansas City. But Kansas City and Detroit knocked off the teams that the Yankees should have played. So you can't blame the Yankees. You got to blame the Orioles and the Astros for screwing up. So we
Now
come to
look, that's
October.
right. That's something that I want to actually discuss with you a little bit, because you know what though, it's the teams that you have in front of you. Because you know what though, it's whoever, like the Mets had to play, whoever the Yankees had to play. They're professional baseball players too. They played good enough to get into the playoffs, and they played the teams that were in front of them. And you know what though, they made the playoffs. Why does it have to be that the Yankees had an easy route to the playoffs? Well, it doesn't matter. Everybody played. Everybody played 162 games. Everybody made the playoffs, and that's what the team. That's who they drew. And listen, Cleveland's a young, feisty team, man. But you know what though? They just couldn't stay. They couldn't handle the long ball. But even Clase got bounced around. But we're going to talk about that too. But
And
yeah, I mean, I agree.
Mitch, this goes with other sports too. I mean, if you're the number one seed, they're coming after you. I mean, we've seen it in football, we've seen it in basketball, hockey. It's always like an 8th seed that makes the Stanley Cup in hockey, So it's kind of hard. The professional sports leagues do not want the number one seeds in the World Series for some reason, Although we could all agree that the Fox executives wanted the Yankees and Dodgers in the World Series.
Oh yeah, how can you go wrong with a New York and California rivalry? I guess they got exactly what they wanted. We could go into a little bit about the Mets after too. But I just I guess I was kind of like California dreaming, like I was saying. But just like they left they left a good taste in my mouth. About
this is the most common opponent in the World Series. It's going to be their 12th time meeting each other. And then you have in football you have the Steelers Cowboys. Although a couple of teams like 49ers Chiefs and Giants Patriots and Bengals 49ers, they met a couple of times. But you got Steelers Cowboys, and then in basketball, of course, you got your Lakers and your Celtics.
Yeah. Now the question I'm going to ask you before we delve into all this is because this is going to come into play a lot of stuff I've been thinking about. Like I watched the video the other day, and this girl on TikTok, I think she's prop queen. I think she is she's
Ariel Epstein. Yeah, Ariel Epstein. Yep.
Yeah. Whatever. She's got she does she breaks down the games and stuff like that. But she posted a video the other day about her and her grandfather at the Yankee game,
Mm-hmm.
and then
her
drinking
grandfather
beer.
Passed away a couple of weeks ago. Yep.
Yeah, and I'm kind of thinking because I've been shooting around watching how down me and Aiden were when the Mets lost and everything. But it's like, what is like your definition of like a fan? Like, why did you become a fan of like your said sport per se, or your team? Because it was just really like hit me kind of hard. Like when you look and the girl and she's crying because she would like to see that with her grandfather, but obviously, and that goes back even to, back, when Boston won the World Series that year. It's like, people were at grave sites, crying on gravestones. Why is it that you
Yep.
think that we connect with our team so much, and like why we become a fan of a certain team?
Well, like we always said, Rich, sports are a diversion of life. It's a 3 hour, 4 hour diversion every night, 162 game baseball season. And then if your team's lucky enough to make the playoffs and your team did pretty damn good for what they started with in April. So I got to give them kudos as well, Rich. But yeah, I mean, being a fan is like sticking with your team. We see like a lot of these young kids, they'll hop on the bandwagon, they'll become a Mets fan, a Yankee fan, whatever team's winning. But you got to stick to it thin and thin, Rich. And that's why I respect you, because I mean, all the heartaches you've had with the Jets and the Mets over the years, it's just like, I mean, how do you take it? But I've been lucky enough to see a couple of World Series, a couple of Super Bowls with my Buccaneers and stuff. But I think you just got to stick with one team, and it's just so. I just can't describe Saturday night like you talked about the prop queen with her grandfather, like me and my dad. Yeah, my eyes got a little moist on Saturday night. I wanted to watch this with my dad, and we saw all these World Series together, and you think it's going to happen every year, Rich, but it doesn't. And that's what makes sports so great, because even okay, Yankees payrolls 300 million, Dodgers payrolls 300 million, Mets payrolls 300 million, but you know what? You still got to play the games. And you know what? Cleveland could have actually come in with $100 million payroll and made the World Series. So you never know. I mean, look at Detroit. Detroit could have easily beat Cleveland. I mean, they had their number one starter on the mound the last game, game five. It could have been Detroit and Yankees, and you could have had Skubal pitching three games in that series. I mean, and that's another thing, Rich, with the starting pitching. But we'll go into that later on. But I'm getting chills right now just thinking about the Yankee. But yeah, I mean, that's what being a fan's all about, Rich. It's watching your team every night. We badmouth our teams. I mean, the Yankees. I was sitting in Yankee Stadium back in June where the Orioles were facing Luis Heel, and he was pitching batting practice. I think he gave up 7 runs before he gave him an out. And that was when rock bottom hit the Yankees this year. They went through a streak of like 90 days where they weren't playing well at all. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers. Soto wasn't in the lineup. You had DJ LeMahieu batting first. So it just goes to show you what a long season can happen when it gets put together. But yeah, and I'm sure you would agree though, Rich. I mean, being a fan is like just sitting 3 hours every night watching your team. And we get
Yeah.
mad at our teams too, right?
Yeah, because I kind of like looking into it and like going through this process with Aiden. Like I was listening to Harry Rose the other day describe like what it meant to him like to be a Met fan. I don't know if you saw that video, but he like described like that feeling that he got. Like he said that he was 14 in 1969, and then he just went through the progression of like what he saw through the years, and from thick and thin, and then becoming a Mets fan, and we stick to our team no matter what. Like I came up with the conclusion the other day that the reason why we stick with our teams is because, I mean, my dad was a Yankee fan and I'm a Mets fan. And I tell you, there's just a weird story of me just being able to have access and go to Shea Stadium is the reason why I'm a Mets fan and a Jets fan for that matter. But there's some kind of like nostalgia, like thinking about like when you're a kid and like how they disappoint you. So, but you know what though, they're gonna be there next year, and you never know. So with the Yankees, and I know you guys have 27 championships. It is what it is. And it's like sometimes Yankees get maybe a little like misplaced with their anger because I'm a Mets fan. I was 14 in 1986, and I just had so much hope in that team. And the ball going onto Buckner's legs. Wasn't Buckner like 6 for 8, and like wasn't he like a multiple time Gold Glover?
Yeah,
And
of
it's like,
course. Yeah,
and
that's first baseman. Yeah.
the ball
Mhm.
just goes under his legs. And I could remember the elation that I had. It was jumping up and down. And I was so happy because, you know, for lack of a better term, like you want to be a part of something. And it's like, when you see like these fans of these teams, they're from all different walks of life, they're businessmen, they're school teachers, they're, like construction workers, like whatever you want to say, like, and it's like, we all get together for that one common cause. And we just realize, how mad we are at Pete Alonso because he doesn't hit a game winning home run. But you know what? Pete Alonso hit a game winning home run a couple of games ago. And then you think to yourself, you can't do it every time. And then you look around, like those people are all trying to, go over in their heads why not to be mad at Pete Alonso, because the next time he hits a home run, it's going to be a bomb, and we're all going to be happy, because the emotional roller coaster that we go on as fans is like, it takes us. It's kind of like it's a disconnection from our day, in meaning that, like, we don't have we have no outcome on at the end. We have no outcome on. We could have our gimmicks, and I'll talk to you about that in 1 second too. About our gimmicks, and, like, why this guy wears an orange socks. When you think of superstitions, baseball is like one of the the main things. But Derek Jeter a couple of weeks ago said it right. It's like the Mets aren't about all these gimmicks that everybody's talking about. They're just a good baseball team. And I think sometimes we get lost up in the gimmicks and the oh my god, and and just at the end, like, me as a fan, like, watching, like, it's like I wouldn't want to watch those games with any other person besides my son, because my fandom comes from still watching him hope that we're gonna see a World Series. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he went out one night, and, like, I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like, Shannon and Jack came in to watch the game. And he's like, that's my Mets baseball watching buddy. Like, and World Series or playoffs, like, I couldn't have gone through any of those emotions. Like, I have a couple of videos I could show you, like when we were at that watch party when Alonso hit that home run, man. And it's like just the pure joy in his eyes. And I think that's what keeps fandom going, because, we don't have, we can't correct or do the outcome, but we could hope, and we could have our heroes, like, not heroes, but the guys that we follow, make us happy or make us sad for the day, but it gets us away from the stuff that we can control. You know what I mean? I'm trying to say? Like, being a Mets fan and being a Jets fan is like different. Like, because you're a Yankee fan, and you expect that every year. And I think this year, that group of guys that I've explained more than once is just like, I thought that they had something magical, but they ran into guys that, like, we'll go through those lineups, and, like, that Dodger lineup is just nasty. It's like, these are a bunch of guys that almost hit it right at the right time, and we'll just see what happens next year.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. I mean, and the thing with baseball is the landscape changes every offseason with free agency and trades and stuff like that. And I mean, look at the Yankees. The Yankees bullpen in April was a total transformation. They brought these guys from the White Sox, Tim Hill and Jake Cousins, Kirk Cousins' cousin. So these guys came from the White Sox. I mean, they couldn't pitch for the White Sox, but they're pitching in the World Series now. So you know what? I really got to give as much heat as Cashman gets, Rich. I really got to give Cashman credit, because he brought in these guys, and it was a total transformation. But baseball is such a great sport, Rich. I mean, football, you got your 17 games. Basketball, your 82 games. But baseball is like every night, Rich. It's every night from like late March to late October till Halloween, basically. So you're following it like 7 months a year. And I would take a baseball game over a football game any day, Rich. It's just one
Me
of the
too.
greatest sports. Some people say it's boring, but you know what? Go to a game, go to a weekday game on a Thursday afternoon when you're sitting in the stands, and you say, hey, the world's working, but I'm at a baseball game in the afternoon on a Thursday. I mean, that's what baseball is all about. Baseball's going to the night games. Baseball, it just brings everyone together, Rich, it seems. I'm look at 9/11, how when George W. Bush, I mean, like him or hate him, Republican or Democrat, he walked on that field at Yankee Stadium wearing a bulletproof vest, of course, but he threw a strike, and that like brought America back together after 9 days of mainly, like what's going to happen next. I think that was like a lot of courage what he did, and it just showed that baseball brings everything together. And then Piazza hitting that big home run at Shea Stadium. I mean, how much? How do you market the sport by? I mean, you can't. It's out there. I mean, kids watch it as little kids. I know they get into the video games and stuff, but I think our generation, Rich, we're the diehards. We watch every inning. Your son, my son, they watch every inning. I mean, my son's coming home tomorrow to watch the game with me tomorrow night, so it's gonna be. I can't wait to see him come home.
You just said that you just said something about the video games, and I was kind of like about that with the video games, but Jack is kind of like a fair weather baseball fan. You know what I mean? Like, he pops in and out with me and Aiden, but Aiden. Aiden's a super fan. He's just like he's a super fan of the Mets and just sports in general. But Jack like bounces in and out. But when he does bounce in, like, he knows all the players. And he says like that, like during COVID and stuff, I played, MLB 2K, the show. I played like every day, and I know these players. And it's like he like knows the players from that. Like, and but also he played, so he knows how the game is played. But he said, like, I played so much, MLB 2K or MLB the show, whatever, that he knows all these players, and it's like, so kind of like when he pops in with me and Aiden, but there's just so much. It's different though. Like when I look at Aiden, like Aiden takes it like I take it. Like I was. Let me just say my little goodbye to the Mets. Like we won't talk about them again. We'll go into real baseball, like what's going on now. But I really like the other day. I don't think I put enough credit into what I was supposed to say the other day about the goodbye to the Mets. And it's like, this Mets team allowed me and my son to still continue, like, because that's our special time. We watch these games and we talk about it, constantly. Like, and he's always got these different ideas, and it's like it's a to have that every single night. Like, all right, what time are you going to be home? It's like, all right, I'm going to be on the couch by this. Like, to going to make sure we were there to watch that game. And the night that we knew it was over, when it was like game 6, seventh inning, I pretty much knew it was over. We just kind of looked at each other. We were kind of like sad, but he would get like visibly upset and mad like throughout the season. And I would always say to him, like, Aiden, it is what it is, bud. It's like, it is what it is. Like, you're gonna say that at the end of the year that if they would have won this game against the Reds, or they would have game against. It's like, yeah, I know. But why get so crazy about it? But all the way up into this. Now, when the Mets went on this little run here, I admit I got emotionally involved, dude. I was in. Like, I was looking at these group of guys, and I'm like, and me, I never ever soured on Francisco Lindor, and I was constant with him, and I knew he was going to turn it around, and I knew he was going to become the player that he did become eventually this year. But I do think that this team was a bunch of finally getting a guy to say, all right, guys, I'm this guy, and you're going to follow me, and I'm going to walk through fire. And Francisco Lindor, I think, without a doubt, became that guy this year. Because once they put him up to the top of that lineup and he realized that I'm going to start this shit off with a bang, he completely changed everything. And, I'm going to talk about his fielding too. Is like, to snub him for a Gold Glove is beyond me. And it's like, you hate to hear conspiracy theories about, MLB or whoever does the voting, like hating the Mets or whatever. But Lindor is the best defensive shortstop in baseball, hands down. And I know I'm just talking like, from emotion, but I think he is. But he got snubbed. But anyway, I'm off the fact that he got snubbed because Ohtani is just a beast. So just to watch that happen, and to watch, how upset and sad my son was and how I was. And I really got involved, and I really felt like that 14-year-old kid in 1986, that something magical was going to happen, and something, but they just couldn't get there. And I don't know if this team is going to be fully together next year. And I hope that nobody is talking in Pete's eye and, said in Pete's ear and says, like, just, come here for this money. It's like, I hope Pete would stay. But I really don't want to see too many guys leave from that baseball team. And it's just like, kind of like, they were very, very fun to watch. And I just want to thank the New York Mets, like, because this show that we do is all about sports and why we watch them. And it's like, I want to thank the New York Mets. I want to thank, I want to thank Carlos Mendoza, who I was all over the first week in the season, and coach this team to where in April we're like, who the hell are these guys? These guys aren't going anywhere. To a team that, making strange moves, like, oh, that move works. Carlos Mendoza, thank you for taking this team and getting every last ounce of talent and just baseball and love for the game out of every single one of those players. And it's done to my soliloquy to the New York Mets. And I'll just say, Carlos Mendoza, you most of all, thank you for making this Mets team pull and fight and get to where they were and be here next year. And let's go next year.
And also, you got to give credit to David Stearns too, because David Stearns brought in Mendoza, brought in some of the players as well. He's not actually the GM, but he's a good baseball mind. I don't think the Mets need a GM, but but Carlos Mendoza definitely a candidate for Manager of the Year. You've got to
Absolutely.
think, right? Unless he hasn't won it already. I mean, what a job he put together after that 0-5 start. I was sitting in Citi Field on opening day against the Brewers, and there was the whole Rhys Hoskins thing with Jeff McNeil. And I remember watching the Mets Tigers game. I think it was a couple of days later, and I remember Gary and Keith and Ron just saying how pathetic it was. There was like maybe 1,000 fans in the ballpark. I think it was like that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday where the weather was really crappy. But they really turned it around. I mean, they had that clubhouse meeting, I think it was that big home run. I forgot who hit the big home, but that's what got them started. I think in May or June, whatever. It might have been Alonso's home run, or I don't know, but Lindor definitely had a great season, overshadowed by the 55-55 that Ohtani did. I mean, you got to you got to give your hats off to the Mets.
Yeah.
They really had a great performance, and if their starting pitch was a little bit better, Rich, I mean, they made do with what they had. Look at their starting pitching, right? They didn't have a number one ace really. Mania showed a lot,
No.
but these guys become free agents now. I think Severino, Mania, and see what happens next year.
Severino filled in great. He filled his role perfectly. He ate up innings. He pitched well at times. You know what I mean? So I got to say, hats off to them. They just weren't. The Dodgers were the better team. And and that's what fandom to me is all about. Being able to to talk about it, and why we take it so seriously is you're become a real fan. And they lose, and then they lose, and then they lose. And then, if you're a real fan of sports, and then you realize that it's all right, I'm 6 or 7 years in now. I can't turn my back on this team because they're going to win one day and it's going to be great. And then it becomes that's when your fandom becomes bigger and bigger, because I have a rule in my house, and that goes for my kids, and that's going to go for my grandchildren. If I ever am blessed with grandchildren one day, my nephew knows this rule. But when you are 10 years old, when you become 10, you have to make a decision on what team you are going to root for. Because if you're 10, and you're a Seattle Seahawks fan, and they do bad this year, and you're 12, and you turn around and tell me you're a New England Patriots fan because all of a sudden Drake May is good, it's fugazi. You're a Seattle Seahawks fan. So that's the rule I have in my house. My kids know, and my nephew knows. So he's going to come on actually this next time unless he wants to declare his fandom.
The problem is, Rich, it's not only 10-year-olds, it's 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds that make those decisions,
Yeah,
It's
man.
crazy. Crazy.
Yeah.
When the Seahawks won that Super Bowl, how many people wearing Seahawks shirts in this area? I mean, we're like 3,000 miles away from Washington State, and yet there's so many Seahawks fans all of a sudden. How'd that happen, right?
Yeah, it's insane.
When I see Seahawks fan, I want to see guys like Jim Zorn, Steve Largent. That's what I want to see. These new Seahawks fans don't even know who those guys are. Right?
No, I agree.
I'm sure Aiden knows who Tom Seaver is. I'm sure
Yes, he does.
I'm sure Aiden knows who Felix Mian is, right? Dave Kingman, right? All those guys,
Yeah.
Craig Swan,
He knows
John Maddock, Jerry Kuzman. Those were the Mets, right, Rich? So you got to really, and I know a lot of history about the team, so I could really probably answer some Mets trivia questions too. But when you talk about fandom, Rich, I could tolerate the Yankees losing to the Dodgers, but I think if the Yankees lost to the Mets, I think it would be a little harder to take for me. I don't know how I would. There's just so many Mets fans, it's just bubbling inside to win this championship that I think if the Yankees would have lost to the Mets, I would have never heard the end of it. So that's why if the Yankees, I think I'll be a little bit better if the Yankees lose to the Dodgers, which they might.
Really, that's interesting. Even knowing their past and stuff like that, and
the Dodgers or the Mets?
The Dodgers and the Yankees. I'm talking about
yeah.
So you would rather lose against the Dodgers than the Mets. All right.
It happened in my lifetime. It happened in '81. Reggie Jackson got hurt in the League Championship Series against Oakland. It was a strike year. The Yankees came out. They won the first 2 games of the World Series. And Reggie Jackson could have played in Game 3, but George Steinbrenner said, "Hey, we got this in the bag. Let's sit him on the bench." So Game 3, Fernando Valenzuela pitches Game 3. I'll talk more about Fernando later. Rest in peace. But Fernando Valenzuela pitches Game 3 of the World Series. He pitches 9 innings. He walks 7, strikes out 6. He gives up 4 runs. Guess how many pitches Fernando threw in the Game 3 of the World Series that year?
160.
Almost 149 pitches.
No, yeah, I know. It's unbelievable. I mean, that guy was you could talk about him for a minute. He was he was unbelievable to watch pitch. He was a workhorse. I don't understand why it happens today where nobody's built like that anymore, dude. Nobody's built like that anymore.
It's crazy. So Fernando, he comes into the league as a 20-year-old, and his first 8 games he pitches complete games. He gave up 4 runs in the first 72 innings he pitched. Crazy. I mean,
I went to 2 years ago. I went to a Dodger game, and you walk into the back there, and I was like, "There's a huge just picture of Fernando Valenzuela." I'm like, I had to kind of tell him who it was, but now he knows who it is. But
yeah, exactly. But he pitched with a couple teams, not a Hall of Famer. I mean, his record wasn't that great, but he came on. Remember Fernando Mania, Rich, when he first came on board? It was crazy, right? The 20-year-old, he goes 13-7 in his first year. He wins the Cy Young Rookie of the Year award that year. He wins the Silver Slugger too. Guy could hit as well. He had 10 home runs in his career. Hit 250 his first year in the majors. He's strikeout leader, like I said. He did it all his first season, basically. And eight shutouts his first year, I believe. It's just mind-boggling what this guy did. 11 complete games too. That for an eight in
Like
his first eight.
if you could take a picture from the last like 10 years, can you compare Fernando Valenzuela to anybody in the last 10 years?
The way he came on, I mean, not only did he win his 13 the first year, but then he won 19 games the following year.
It's like, you come on and you're a great pitcher like Steven Strasburg. Remember when he came on the scene, he was supposed to be like an instantaneous.
But Rich, look at Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens comes on, pitches for the Pirates, right?
Yeah.
So he only pitched maybe 25 starts this year. Only 3 of them were 7+ innings in his start. It's the coddling they do of these pitchers, and I know Fernando had some injuries and stuff. I mean, 10 years into the league, he was showing regression, arm injuries and stuff. I mean, but what this guy did for the city of LA, the country of Mexico, and for Major League Baseball in that 1 year, it was a strike year too. So we kind of needed that shot in the arm. But yeah, I was sad to see that he passed away. And I put a video on of Vince Scully a couple of years ago trying to throw out the first pitch, but he said he had the rotator cuff issue. And he goes, "Do I have a lefty?" And there out of the dugout comes Fernando Valenzuela to throw out the first ball. But I saw the pictures of him lately. I think he retired. He quit. He left the broadcast booth in September. And the pictures of him, I think they said liver cancer was the ultimate for him,
Really?
and stuff. But yeah, 63 years old, and his birthday is Game 6 of the World Series. So the Dodgers might have that Fernando narrative going into the World Series and stuff. So
yeah, you never know.
So like I said, Rich, I've been there. Fernando pitches Game 3 of the World Series, and the Dodgers win the next 4 games. The Dodgers swept the Yankees. 4 games. 4 games, the Yankees won the first 2. Like I said, George Steinbrenner went to Reggie Jackson bench because he thought we had it in the bag, but never take anything for granted. The Yankees lose that series, and the Yankees don't go back to the World Series for another 15 years. It was 1996. So you see, 15 years. So, I could see it was like childhood of a waste, basically, from 82 to 95, nothing for the Yankees, And Don Mattingly, too. Mattingly's career, nothing. He had that playoff series in 95. That was about it for him. Yeah.
Poor guy. Now,
one more thing about the 81 World Series, Rich.
Yeah.
Dave Winfield came to the Yankees in 81. It was a free agent signing. And Dave Winfield in the World Series went 1 for 22 with 1 RBI. So he was dubbed by George Steinbrenner Mr. May. And we had a lot of people comparing that to Aaron Judge now, but Judge has shown some promise. He's had to hit a couple of home runs in the playoffs thus far, but I think one of the keys is Aaron Judge has to hit in this World Series.
That was going to be. Let me ask you a question before you get into all that like hubbub. Like that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you a question. Okay, he's been. Now listen, Aaron Judge has been around for a little while, right? He's a journeyman, right? He's not a journeyman. You know what I mean? Like he's the best player in baseball, but he's been around for a little while, right? Now, there's a couple of Yankees on this team. Like I'm not gonna lie, I heard this conversation today on one of the sports talk shows, but it's a good point though. Like there's a couple of people on this Yankee team that I think that winning a World Series this year for them is paramount. I think. Now, it could be more than one, but out of a bunch of these guys on there that are there, it's like, it's not like, it's kind of like, it's like a new crop of guys, I guess you would say. Now, who is this winning a World Series? Who do you think it is most important for in that Yankee lineup or the Yankee team?
Well, I'm going to give you 2 right off the bat. Definitely Aaron Judge. It's his first time there. We look at and if you look at some stars, like look at Dan Marino. Dan Marino makes the Super Bowl and he never gets back to the Super Bowl. So this is Aaron Judge's time to shine because, like I said, it's hard to make the World Series in baseball. So definitely Aaron Judge. And I'm going to go with tomorrow's starter, Garrett Cole. He's got to really come with his A game tomorrow. And if he pitches tomorrow well, he gets Game 4 and a potential Game 7. So definitely Garrett Cole tomorrow.
He has to under no circumstances. He cannot pitch around Shohei Ohtani. He has to pitch to Shohei Ohtani. Like if anybody picks up that, because listen, not for nothing, the Mets went at Shohei Ohtani. I mean, during that series, they went at him. They struck him out. Listen, he killed them too, of course, because he kills everybody. But the Mets went at him. Garrett Cole has to go at him, man. and he has to go at him knowing that Mookie Betts is behind him, and then he has to go at Ohtani knowing that he's going to get murdered maybe for 5 or 6 batters, until he kind of gets sort of like, again, we'll go over the lineups later, but I think it's definitely Garrett Cole, and I think it's a big one for Aaron Judge, because now what do you think happens if, let's say, the Yankees do win the World Series, okay? And Aaron Judge he's there. He played. He did well. Like, he's got statistics like, Jazz Chisholm and, and Austin Wells. Like they did okay, and Stanton and Soto murdered. Like, what does that do for Aaron Judge going forward as like the Yankee team, or like, as his legacy, kind of like what's going to happen? What would happen to
Well, Aaron Judge, if he wins the World Series, he definitely gets that legacy now. He could be talked about the Yankee greats and stuff like that. He could be talked about the greats already with his statistics, but the World Series is like the cherry on the sundae, basically. Garrett Cole, on the other hand, I mean, Garrett Cole was brought here about 5, 6 years ago, and he's had his ups and downs. Last year, he had the Cy Young Award year, but the Yankees, they did nothing last year. But this year with the injury, the thing with Garrett Cole, he doesn't have the amount of innings on that arm like a normal pitcher would have coming into October. So most guys would have 200 innings, and then maybe another 27 innings in the playoffs going to the World Series. So that's a lot of wear and tear. So he's primed. I mean, we've seen him in the playoffs so far. He had a good start, pretty bad start, a so-so start. So he's got to show that consistency, Rich, which he hasn't really shown that much. But he's the guy. I mean, Yankees definitely have to steal one of these games in LA, just like the Mets had to steal the game in LA for games 1 and 2, and they did. The Yankees have to steal the game, one of the 2 games in LA, bring the series back to the Bronx, and then take it from there. But those are the 2. One more, I think it's important for Stanton too to win that ring, Rich. Giancarlo Stanton, his postseason statistics with the Yankees have been incredible. Babe Ruth style, we're comparing him to. And you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb, Rich. I think Stanton's postseason statistics get him into the Hall of Fame. Even with, he's got the numbers right now. He's got almost 500 home runs, I think, or something like that.
Eric, he gets into the Hall of Fame, dude. I think, like, he doesn't need this season. I don't think, anyway. I mean, just knowing just watching him play, I don't know, again, like, you never know how people feel about him, but he's a consistent, he hammers the baseball, dude.
In October.
Oh my God, he hammers the baseball. No matter who's pitching, too. If you watch him when he gets up to bat and he's like 100% healthy, like his muscles pop out and he's just like, he does the same thing and just like bang. And he's a beast, man. And I guess, you know what it is? I guess maybe, maybe selfishly, like, because again, I'd like to see Stanton do better than Judge if the Yankees are going to win. I don't know. Something about Judge that irks me, and I don't know what it is, man. I don't know. I know what it is about Judge. Something irks me about him, and I don't know what it is. But Stanton gets into the Hall of Fame, no matter what.
And like you're talking about Stanton, I mean, if you saw Stanton's home runs, he swings the bat and the ball's going out. He's watching it, basically. I mean, he doesn't hit fly balls, Rich. He hits bombs.
Yeah. So I think, like, you just brought up a good point. Like, he's been around a long time. Maybe he does say, listen, this might be one of my last hurrahs to do this. I'm just going to go balls out. I'm going to be Miami Marlins fucking, I'm going to just kick ass. I'm going to play the field. I'm going to get rub downs every night. I'm going to smash home runs. And like, he's got to do that for how many games? 7 more games, dude. Why not go balls to the wall, dude?
And,
just like, if you hurt yourself, was it worth it? Yeah, of course it's worth it, man. You win a World Series that way, dude.
Yep, local guy, grew up a half hour from Dodger Stadium, loves playing in that stadium, hit one out as a Marlin, hit it totally out of the stadium, hit the home run in the All-Star game a couple of years ago at Dodger Stadium as a Yankee when he went out there. But yeah, I mean,
I don't think you have anything to worry about with him when it comes to like partying or like drugs or drinking. I think he is like I'm not saying he's a dork, but I'm saying he's like, I'm going home. Maybe I'll have a glass of wine with my wife. I don't even know what his marital status is, but I'm just saying, like, he's just that all business guy. Man, he'll go home to his family. Maybe if he has him, I got to look that up. I should have. But like, I don't think that he just, has it in him. He's not like, I'm going to go party and go crazy. It's like he goes to maybe quiet places. I just think that this is his time, and I think he's going to. I think I'm calling. I think he's going to be the MVP if the Yankees win.
Wow, MVP in the LCS and the World Series, right?
Yeah, man. I
Yeah,
think he's going to be the MVP.
yeah, and thank God the pitchers don't hit anymore. Because remember when the pitchers used to hit, Rich? That was the only time we saw David Ortiz. We saw him with a glove, basically. He never had a glove, so thank God the pitchers aren't doing the World Series because Stanton would have definitely been on the bench. There's no way he would have been in the field, and the Yankees would have lost that bat. But yeah, the guy crushes the ball, and you said with Aaron Judge too. I mean, Judge has to come alive. But the main thing for Judge is just watch out for that fence at Dodger Stadium. I mean, remember what happened last year? I mean, that really demoralized the Yankees in their season, basically. But the Yankees have another hitter in that lineup, Rich, that could do damage. And he's become a free agent at the end of the year. And it's not Alex Verdugo either.
Who are you talking about?
Juan Soto.
Juan Soto, right? Are we really talking? We're going to talk about him.
Well, tomorrow's his birthday, Rich, and what narrative would be great if
now,
he?
Let me ask you a hypothetical question then, okay?
Yep.
Yankees win the World Series. Okay, they offer him $500 million, and somebody else comes in and offers 600. Same amount of time, just $100 million more money. He wins the World Series. Does he take the money, you think, or is he wrapped up in the Yankee lore, or like what does he do? And I'll ask you that same question for. Does he leave, do you think? Is there any circumstances where you think that Soto goes to the Mets or somewhere else?
Okay, so hypothetically, the World Series ends. Of course, Soto's not going to sign for a while, Rich. Soto probably won't sign till, let's say, Christmas, maybe, you think?
If that. Some of these guys wait till January, February.
Well, you got Rizzo coming off the books. Gleyber Torres, I don't know. Maybe the Yankees re-sign him, but Yankees have a kid named Spencer Jones in their minor league system and a couple of other prospects. So they made a Soto trade last year, sending these prospects away. Let's say they do another trade with prospects. Let's say they trade these prospects to Toronto and they bring in somebody to play first base, one Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So how does that sway Juan Soto? Can you imagine a lineup with Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, Juan Soto, and Vladimir Guerrero? I mean, I'm salivating just thinking about that.
Now, what's I think is going to come into play too, because I think Juan Soto's a smart, he's a smart baseball guy. But I think this is, and I honestly think that, excuse me, if the Yankees do lose this World Series, I think their weak point is going to be their starting pitching. I think against this lineup, I think their starting pitching is going to get them in a lot of trouble. And I think maybe that's going to go into his decision too. But I don't know if you want to continue to talk about Soto signing somewhere else, but I think that might go into his decision too. Is like, who's going to be our pitchers next year? Garrett Cole, kind of sucked this year. Like in the World Series, he didn't come up big for us. Like we don't have a big pitcher. It's like, the Mets just signed so-and-so. Like maybe I'll go to the Mets. Lindor is my boy. I don't know. I'm just using the Mets as an example because I would love to see Soto there. But, what's to stop him from saying like, I don't know if this team can pitch? Because I think that's their major weak point, I think, going into the World Series.
And I think the flip side, Rich, I think they're pitching better than the Dodgers right now.
Okay.
The Dodgers only have 3 starting pitchers, and can you really count on Buehler? I mean, once you get past
Flaherty, do you think the Mets pitching staff is better than the Yankees, barring Garrett Cole? Do you think the Mets pitching staff as a whole is better than the Yankees starting?
Starting, I think pretty much the same. I think the Yankees bullpen's much better than the Mets, but
Let's go with starters.
I mean,
Starters.
Yeah. You know what? You can compare the starters one for one. I mean, I think Manaea had a great year, but you can't really give. Cole had a small sample size. He didn't pitch that much, but even the games he did pitch, he pitched pretty well. Rodon won 17 games for them this year. He had his ups and downs. Luis Gil probably going to win Rookie of the Year. I mean, he had a great season. So, and Clark Schmidt, your boy Clark Schmidt. I mean, and then you add Marcus Stroman as number 5. I mean, what team out there, Rich, can say they have 5 valid starters? You can't.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mets had what? The Mets had they had
Manaea,
Peterson.
Kodai Senga pitched barely.
Yeah, and McGill, right? McGill was their starter. Who's their 5th starter? Yeah.
It's like they kind of got with Senga getting really hurt. The Mets got thrown for a loop, I guess. You know what I mean? I don't know, but their pitching was definitely. I think Peterson and I think Mania as well pitched above their, the back of
Hmm.
their baseball card. I think, as you say,
Hmm.
you know what I
Hmm.
mean. It's like
Yep.
I think they pitched very well, and I think that that's one of those they rose to the occasion this year because they knew they had to once Senga went down, and they didn't know what Diaz was going to be. So maybe a couple of these guys like put on their big boy pants and said we're going to have to give these guys a lot of innings. And Severino was always an innings eater too, so he was just probably like all right, let's just let's do what we can, and got them that far, got them as far as
Yep.
they could, and
Hmm.
and what you said this guy, what's his name, the rookie pitcher, Cease, right?
Well, Louis Hill, Louis Hill.
Luis Hill. Why do I get him confused with Dylan Cease? Luis Hill, like where's he been?
He pitched one game against Cleveland, so
And
the
what
Yankees
happened with
had
him?
he had a lot of
I
innings.
honestly, I don't know. I'm asking. I don't know.
Well, the guy didn't pitch for a couple of years, so he came back this year. A lot of innings on that arm, Rich. So they went into the first series with Kansas City. All they needed was Cole and Rodon.
Gotcha,
He'll
gotcha. Okay.
pitch and Clark Schmidt. He'll pitch one of the games against Cleveland, and he will be the Game 4 starter in the World Series. So he'll be there. But you got to go with the guys that got you there. You got to go with Cole as your number one. You got to go with Rodon as number two, and then you can make your choice of Schmidt or Heel. And the big game is Game 3, Rich, because it comes back to Yankee Stadium, and you got Clark Schmidt going against Buehler. Buehler hasn't been lights out. He's been, And one thing though, if the Dodgers had Tyler Glass now, I really would have given the Dodgers the edge. The Dodgers would have been huge favorites in the World Series, but they brought Flaherty. The Yankees checked on Flaherty at the trade deadline. Cashman was going to go all in on, but Flaherty had some back problems, and his velocity's been down. Yamamoto can't pitch more than 75 pitches, Rich. So there's definitely an issue. And, the Dodgers are going with these bullpen games. I mean, what a disgrace. I mean, you can't even get starting pitchers. You have to go with these bullpen games all the time. It makes no sense. These old baseball players. Can you imagine Bob Gibson? I mean, on the Cardinals,
Yeah.
having a bullpen game. I mean, Sandy Koufax in '63 against the Yankees in the World Series, he pitched on a Wednesday. He pitched on a Sunday. Sweep for the Dodgers. Bye bye Yankees. He pitched 9 innings. I mean, 18 innings in the 2 games. So it's totally a different game. But it's such an embarrassment to baseball seeing bullpen games, and for the Dodgers to roll out 2 bullpen games in a league championship series. It's embarrassing, and that's the weakness the Dodgers have as a starting pitch. In the Yankees, like I said, Stroman hasn't even pitched 1 inning in the playoffs yet. So the Yankees are 5 deep, and then you got Nestor Cortez coming back. Nestor Cortez is 2 for 12. I mean, Otani's 2 for 12 against Cortez. So Nestor Cortez said in the papers the other day he will give his left arm. He will take the risk of getting surgery just to pitch in a World Series and to earn this team a championship. So
Yeah,
can
I
you
saw
imagine that? His arm is hanging on by a string to get these lefties out. If he blows out his arm, he's going to miss a year and a half basically. And how much money is he going to throw away just to win this World Series? So that goes to show you this Yankee team how well knit they are. And when Stanton won I'm backtracking. When Stanton won the NLCS, did you see the guys, the teammates on the stage with him? They're it's just there weren't too many gimmicks with the Yankees this year. The only gimmick they had when they had a home run in the dugout, they formed 2 lines, and the guy would go down, with high fives and stuff like that going down the line. But the Yankee team is tight knit, and even with Jazz Chisholm, I mean, we thought Jazz Chisholm would be a cancer in the clubhouse. I mean, this guy loves playing for the Yankees, and he was saying on the radio today that him and Aaron Boone have become best friends, and they tell each other funny stories and stuff. So the fact that Chisholm was supposed to be a cancer, I mean, he's got to start hitting though, Rich.
He's got 11, right? He struck out 11 times, dude. He's got one
Rich,
home run.
the guy comes over here and says, "Hey, listen, can you play third base?"
Yeah,
He's playing
yeah.
third base, right? So,
Yeah, of course.
and look at Gleyber Torres too. Gleyber Torres, the guy had a slump. He was slumped all year. The guy is put at
11 hits.
the guy's put number 1 in the lineup, batting first.
5 RBIs, 11 hits. Home run.
Ever since he became first in the lineup, Rich, he's 11th in baseball on-base percentage. And look in the playoffs, it was him and Soto, 1-2. It seemed like every game those guys were on base, 1-2. Soto, Torres, Soto. So, and of course, the copy base running, the Yankees ran out of a couple innings. Even John Sterling says they're running the bases like drunks. And boy, oh boy, that's got to stop. That even Chisholm too. Chisholm had a stolen base. Unorthodox slide. I mean, I don't know what these guys are thinking on the base paths, but that's the key to the World Series. I mean, the Yankees can't give the Dodgers extra outs, and
No.
they can't make stupid mistakes on the base paths because the Dodgers lineup will feast off of you
Rizzo
basically.
Rizzo is known for that.
Yep, and the 7-8-9 Dodgers Yankees have the edge. I mean, in the playoffs with the getting on base. So that back end of the lineup too, you don't want that to turn around because I think it turning around to the Dodgers with Ohtani is worse, than turning around to Torres, although Torres has been hitting. But another key
Yeah.
is Volpe. Volpe definitely had a transformation. He's been very patient at the plate right now, and it's been showing in the playoffs. Guy's been getting on base. And then you look at Rizzo. Rizzo's been getting on base with the broken fingers, so had a couple of
You know
balls
what
in the
though?
field. But
To your point before about Volpe and Cabrera. Like I'm just looking at it from a baseball perspective. You said Volpe's been patient at the plate, during like the playoffs. I don't want Volpe and Cabrera being patient at the plate. I want those kids hacking away in the playoffs. I want them swinging at fastballs. I want them
mhm.
swinging at first pitch strikes. You need those guys on base because you know what is because how young they are and how exciting like these young guys are. It's like you gotta start hacking, even if you miss, man. It's like if you get on base in that first inning and you're like, yo, I'm on base now. Look at all these guys that cheering for me. It's like that adds fire to you better. Like with these young guys, like if they start like Mark Vientos, like we found our third baseman. Like that kid, he's got you can see his demeanor. He's very kind of calm demeanor, but he looks like a little kid out there and he's hitting the shit out of the ball. And it's like, you put him in a part of the lineup. Now all of a sudden, like I'm batting third in the Mets and like in this lineup, it's like, and even Pete Alonso didn't say nothing about moving him around in the lineup. And then boom, he came back. And then Lindor. It's like, and these guys, like, even Nimmo bouncing around, like even McNeil coming back. I'm like, this team, it's like these guys, like, they got to know like where they can play. You know what I mean? It's like, and I think that's really big, I think, for them. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no doubt. But there's also the flip side, Rich, where you want to work the pitcher's count. A lot of these guys, they're not pitching more than 4 innings. These guys, I mean,
Yeah.
who's pitching 7 innings now? I know Cole pitched 7 innings against the Royals. I think he pitched 7 innings one game, but none of these guys are pitching past the fifth inning. It's usually like the managers are pulling these guys after 4 2/3 innings pitched, basically. So,
So that's my other question to you. Do you think that like as far as the Yankees lineup, because look, we talked about their starting pitching, how Walker Buehler, he had that good game against the Mets, but he's been up and down. Yamamoto's got that over five ERA. Flaherty, like he had a really good game against the Mets, and then the Mets hammered him, so he's not really consistent. So do you think like the Yankees, like the way their lineup is set up and the way it's constructed, do you think that they have room for adversity, like when they do go up against the bullpen game, where you have the one guy, and I'm sorry, their names are forgetting me at the moment, but guy come in throwing 102 miles an hour, and then come in and get somebody, maybe throw somebody that's throwing 77, get Yamamoto, maybe in a bullpen game where he's going to throw like a 77 mile an hour curveball. Like, do you think the Yankees have enough, people in their lineup that's going to conform to something like as a bullpen game like that? When you've seen different types of pitching, sidearm maybe, or we've seen different types of pitches. Do you think that their lineup can conform to like seeing that kind of game?
well, Rich, we just saw it. I mean, the Guardians had one of the
Yeah,
best bullpens in baseball. They had so many leverage guys. Cade Smith pitched every game. Look at Clase. The Yankees were done against Clase, and they come up and they hit the home runs and stuff.
yeah,
So, that and Kansas City's bullpen wasn't chopped liver either. So the Yankees actually went through two good bullpens. I know the Dodgers. They're bringing this guy Alex Vesia back, the lefty. He's coming back. So the Yankees aren't afraid with bullpens. So we've seen 2 series already. So you know whether or not the Yankees can keep doing it, but I know the Dodgers have these high leverage guys too. The Yankees have the high leverage guys too. So Yankees bullpen. Look at Luke Weaver, the closer already. He's coming out like Mario Rivera. I mean, you can't compare
yeah,
the two. But I'm just saying I like Weaver better than having Clay Holmes out there. Clay Holmes is much better in his spot right now. You got Tommy Conley. You got some good guys out there. You got Tim Hill, who I said came from the White Sox. The guy can't even break a glass. He's not a strikeout guy, but he comes sidearm and gets the outs and stuff. So yeah, I think what it does, it comes down to the bullpens, Rich, and the starting
yeah.
pitching, which the Dodgers don't have.
Now listen. I'm going on. I'm looking at the Dodgers lineup right now. Like who? Listen to these stats. Who do you think? Whose stats? You probably know, but like whose stats you think these are? 44 at bats, 6 home runs, 15 hits, 3 doubles, 1 home run, and 12 RBIs. Whose stats on the Dodgers lineup do you think those are?
Is that Otani or Muncy?
And Montano Muncy. No, it's a little kid. What's
Oh,
his name?
Tommy Edmonds, right?
Edmund.
Tommy. Yeah, yeah.
Yo, that kid right there. Like at times watching him play, I was mad they were playing the Mets because I was like, I like because just he looks like a little kid, and he's like the kid he was batting fourth when they went in Game 6 against the Mets. Like, just looking at this lineup, that they could kill you anywhere, but you throw that kid in the lineup, like he's hitting everything you pitch to him. Like I don't know, like that's a kind of kid that you can't pitch around. Like he's gonna hit curveballs, he's gonna hit fastballs. Like I'm looking at this lineup here, and I'm like, I just know because like I seen it from the Mets perspective. But now, I'm looking at right now. You got to look at the Yankees lineup too. Like it's like thinking about the fact that
We could
they
do
have Judge and they
comparisons,
have
Rich. Yeah, we
what's
could do
that?
definitely comparisons. But you look at the
Yeah,
Dodgers lineup too. You got Kiki Hernandez. Kiki
right,
Hernandez has about the same amount of home runs as Stanton has in his playoff career. So you
exactly.
look at the catcher spot, Rich. You got who Will Smith against Austin Wells. I mean, you definitely got to give Smith the edge there. I would think.
Austin Wells, listen, not for nothing. Like I don't know too much about him up until a couple of weeks ago when I was like, holy shit, that's the catcher for the Yankees. Like whatever, but he hasn't been playing too well, man. If you want to really put it down to it, he really
And
hasn't been
that's why,
playing well.
the Yankees even putting him at the cleanup spot, they still managed to win. So it's crazy. But I think his defense will improve. Hopefully the hitting improves, but he does have the award for the best mustache, Rich.
Oh, 100%. He just looks like an old school dirty baseball player. you know?
Okay, let's go first base. You got Freeman and Rizzo. You got the bad
Now,
ankle against the bad fingers. I mean.
now I would now just the fact that Freeman is out there that they trust is bad enough where he could limp to first base tells me that Freeman is a dangerous hitter, dude. Like he could hit anything, lefties, righties, wherever the ball's pitched, any ball thrown to him. So he's gonna play. You know what I mean? So it's a matter of like even an injured Freddie Freeman, you got to give the edge to the Dodgers.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. I mean, he's got the best bat skills, Rich. I mean, all kidding aside with the ankle, you still have to swing the bat. Rizzo's been getting some good hits lately, but I think you got to give the edge to Freeman there, definitely. How
Yeah.
about second base? You got the Lux Taylor for the Dodgers, that platoon, and then you got Gleyber Torres for the Yankees. I definitely have to go with Gleyber Torres on here.
The way Gleyber Torres is playing now, yeah, if he still continued to play the way he was playing in the regular season, he was kind of like dragging his ass, not really playing, but he's definitely come on to the playoffs. And look, these two guys, like you could take them or leave them either way. Like one of them might have a good game, but no, I definitely have to give second base, definitely give the edge to the Yankees on this. Torres definitely gets the edge.
Yeah, and then you got Edmund Volpe, and I think this is close, Rich. I'm going to call this a tie. I know Edmonds had the great LCS, but like I said, Volpe, he's coming around, and he's really been swinging the bat pretty well, and his defense is pretty good too.
See, I think I'm gonna give the edge to Edmund there. The only reason why I'm saying this because I got to watch him in that series against the Mets, and he was just surrounded by all these veteran guys, man, and he did not flinch. He was bounced around in the lineup. They had him at short, I think, one night. I think they bounced the kid around, and the conversations like he's the coach's kid and this that and the other thing, but he did anything that the coach asked him to, and he filled in and he kicked ass and did what he was supposed to do. And I think that I saw something in him where like he wasn't afraid like of that moment. Like he wasn't afraid to hit the ball where he needed to be hit. And I think that in itself, I think like just momentum and motivation. I think I'm going to give the edge to the kid there.
Yep, and of course at third base you got Max Muncy and Jazz Chisholm, and sooner or later it's got to break for Jazz. He's got to start hitting, Rich. I mean the defense has been there, but the hitting has not. I mean he hit the one home run against Kansas City in the ninth inning, which eighth inning, the game didn't matter. Yankees had the game won, but yeah, Max Muncy had that streak against the Mets. What 12 at bats in a row he reached base or something like that. He's
Yeah,
a dangerous left-handed hitter, Muncy, but
absolutely.
maybe the Yankees lefties can get him out.
Yeah, see, I think I'm going to give the edge to Muncie there because again, I watched him like firsthand. I hate that guy, man. He's becoming like he's progressively coming that hitter that like always gets up to do something to hurt you. Like and like I said, 12 on base, 12 plate appearances in a row. It's like he's going to hurt you, and he's going to kind of play a good third base too. So I think that I think the edge has to go to the Dodgers there. I think with Muncie because Muncie's going to hurt you with the bat, and he's going to play pretty good third base.
Yep. And then you got the outfield. You got the Hernandez brothers, Teoscar Kiki and Mookie Betts, of course. And then you got Verdugo, Judge, and Soto, of course. Very interesting. This I got to give the Yankees the edge on this. I mean, just because of the power alone.
Yeah, because the point that I was going to make before is, this could probably come in handy here because we're going to go to the DH eventually too, obviously, because that's Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
But I think that when you look at this Yankee lineup and this Dodger lineup, right, you got Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, right? You got Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. Take them out of the equation. Take those four guys out of the equation right now. All right. Now, when you go to the rest of that lineup, dude, I mean, you're looking at, what'd you say, Jazz Chisholm, Rizzo, you're looking
Yep.
at, just, your lineup that you have there, it's like this. But then, like, you take Mookie Betts and Shohei Ohtani out of this lineup, you got Freeman, you got Hernandez, you got Muncie, you got Kiki, you got the rookie, what's his name, Pages, you got guys like that. You got, got guys like that are like very dangerous hitters. And I think that's another place I think where the bottom of the lineup is going to be very, very key to winning the World Series for the Dodgers. I think those guys down there are going to have to continue to pound the baseball because, if you're a guy like Lux and, Will Smith and you're batting at the bottom of the lineup in that second inning, you sure as shit want to get Shohei Ohtani up and want to get on base. So I think that bottom of the lineup right there with those guys is going to be very key in the Dodgers winning the World Series. But yes, outfield wise, I definitely going to have to give the edge to the Yankees just defensively and Juan Soto and Aaron Judge. Any outfield with those two guys in is definitely the best outfield. And Mookie Betts isn't even a right fielder. You know what I mean? He's a second baseman, shortstop, right fielder, center fielder. Like he's just like an outright good baseball player. So you got to give the edge to the Yankees on the outfield.
Yep. And then, of course, I don't know how you can give an edge on this one, Rich. Ohtani Stanton. I mean, you when Ohtani's mentioned, there's just no way you could go against the opponent.
I don't know. I'm not listen. I'm not giving the edge to Stanton on this. But you know what? It's kind of like this. I'm kind of going to equate it to Francisco Lindor being the MVP. I'm going to equate it to that. It's like, yeah, he had a great season for the Mets. Yeah, he had a great season all across baseball. Everybody's watching. All of a sudden, you get to Dodgers, like, fuck, Godzilla's there. So I think with Stanton, it's like it's like I'm here too, guys. Like he might hit 6 home runs, but I may hit 7, or I may have it's like so. I think he's going to outshine it, but I don't know. Stanton's going to be right there, dude. I think Stanton's going to go pound for pound with him in the World Series.
Yep, exactly. And then, then you got the bench too. I think the Dodgers bench might be a little bit better than the Yankees bench. The Yankees haven't really gone to the bench that much. They have Trevino, the catcher. They got Trent Grisham, who hasn't seen the field yet. And maybe even DJ LeMahieu. I don't know why he'll be on the roster, but yeah, Yankees bench is definitely weaker than the Dodgers bench. But yeah, I mean, the keys are the Yankees. The key is Stanton, Soto, and Judge. They can't slump. They got to keep their consistencies going. And Judge has to start, where he left off. He did show a lot of promise in the last couple of games against Cleveland. So that's the key for the Yankees. And the key for the Dodgers is they got to keep their scorching lineup going. I mean, they've been doing nothing but hitting this past series. We saw the Mets series. I mean, Rich, it was a lopsided series back and forth. The Mets would blow the Dodgers out one day. The Dodgers would blow out the Mets one day. There was really close games. So that's another key, Rich. Can the Dodgers win a close game? And the Dodgers had their ERA going to playoffs is for the 2 series. San Diego Mets is 4.3. The Yankees ERA is 3.2. So definitely the pitching edge there for the Yankees, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just look all over the place. I mean, it's going to be a good series, but there's two things. If two things had to jump out at me in both of these games for something, for either one to win. I think, like I said to you before, I think the bottom of the lineup for the Dodgers has to hit. They have to hit. That's just like, if they hit, the top of the lineup is going to do their job and they're going to score 2 touchdowns. And I think in order for the Yankees to pull this off and win the World Series, I think that they're starting pitchers. They're guys. They have to pitch. Cole has to be he's got to be a beast. He's got to get up there in a 1-4 and a possible 7. Like, Rodon has to pitch, man. It's like Nestor Cortez. Like, listen, it's all well and good to say you got to dig down deep, but if you feel like your shoulder's going to blow out, and it does, like, it is what it is, but you're already telling us that it might. So it's kind of like, all right, do I trust you? So you got the guy in the witness protection program there, Clark Schmidt. Like, he was hurt for a lot of the season. So it's like, there's kind of like a lot of, I think, like kind of holes, not holes, but stuff that the guys that are there and they're healthy, they have to come through. So the Yankees starting pitching has to be, they have to be bulls. And I think that bottom of the lineup for the Dodgers has to come through. So,
and like I said, Cortez could be the X factor, Rich, because you look at Otani, Muncy, Freeman. I mean, his herky jerky motion. I mean, that's perfect for getting these guys out. So, I mean, he could lead off an inning. You got Otani, and then Betts, and then Freeman. I mean, he can get. You have to face 3 batters. 2 out of the 3 are lefties, so he could definitely be the X factor in the series. But I expect. What's that?
Here's one more question because we're doing the comparisons.
Go ahead.
Okay, one more question. Who's got the coaching advantage?
Wow.
I think I have my answer. I think Dave Roberts has a coaching advantage over Boone. I mean, just because I think a lot of times, I think personally, but you might be able to correct me, but I think Boone makes a lot of moves that are generally go with the flow with the Yankee organization, where I think Dave Roberts is becoming he's been there a long time, and not that he's becoming an old curmudgeon, but I think that he's gonna say like what he's gonna do is what he's gonna do, and I think probably there's more of that now because he's been there longer. And I think he has more of an easier problem saying F you to, Magic Johnson, who's up there in the booth or whoever it may be, that, because he was basically telling, there was one night they were asking him questions and they have to get rid of that stuff on the sideline where Ken Rosenthal comes and they have to get rid of that dude. It's so boring. But, where he's saying, like, basically telling us what he's going to do. This guy's coming out in two batters, then he's going to go in for 1. So I think Dave Roberts might be on a mission right now because he's been getting a lot of shit for making it and not. So I think that the coaching advantage goes to Dave Roberts because I think that his job may be in jeopardy, maybe behind closed doors, but this is a team that, it was a couple of years ago where it was, all right, this team's pretty good and maybe they make the playoffs. No, it's been 6 years of they better win the World Series. So I think that there's a lot of that going on in his head too. So I think Roberts gets the coaching edge just on sheer, holy shit.
Yeah, I'm tired of Dave Roberts, Rich. 20 years ago, stolen base. Yankees had the 3-0 lead. We know all that happens. Red Sox come back. They win 4 games to 3. And now in the World Series, I mean, Roberts has the World Series victory under his belt. Although it was the COVID year, nobody really talks about that World Series. And he's got the experience of being in the big games. This is, Aaron Boone. He put the Red Sox to rest with the big home run many years ago. But he never played in the World Series. Oh yeah, he did play in he did play in the 2003 World Series where they lost to the Marlins. So he's got World Series experience as a player as well, none as a manager. But I think Boone's been around quite a long time, and yeah, he's the yes man to the Yankees. But I think in the World Series a little bit different. I think it's much different than a game in August against the Blue Jays or something like that. So I think in the World Series a lot different. The starting pitchers have short leashes. It's just the whole dynamic of getting the 27 outs for your pitchers and trying to get some, big hits from the bats and stuff. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Right?
You think like during one of the games, like Magic Johnson comes down to the locker room and he walks out into the dugout and he kind of whispers in so and so's ear. Dave Roberts like, yo man, it's why don't you put so and so in? He's been sitting down the whole game. Do you think Dave Roberts turns around and goes, yo, shut up, Magic, and talk about basketball. I take care of the baseball shit here. What do you tell me to put into the game? Do you think there's any of those conversations where Magic is just like, hey man, I'm a professional athlete. I think this. Do you think there's anything that goes on with that?
With the Yankees? You might have.
No,
you might
Dodgers. Dodgers.
Oh, you never know. I thought you meant with the Yankees.
The Magic have a 0.1000 something ownership in the Dodgers or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, with the Yankees, it might happen with the Dodgers. The Yankees might have one of the guys, calling from above too. You never know, but I'll say Magic. Just concentrate on Lakers, please.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So Rich. So the World Series going on now. So I'm wearing a Yankee jersey right now.
Yes.
Can you guess the number I'm wearing?
Can I guess the number now? Is there a reason, or you gonna tell me that you just pulled it out of the closet and that's when you grabbed?
I put that in the closet. But this one's pretty good because it's going to be a little hard to guess this one.
Don't tell me. Don't
You
tell
know,
me.
it's not going to be John Wetland, but
Mariano Rivera,
nope,
CC Sabathia.
nope.
Is it not a pitcher?
I doubt would be giving it away, Rich.
If you're giving it away,
I'm not going to say what
Da-
position.
David
Who?
Wells. David
Nope,
Wells.
nope,
I'm gonna get one more guess. You are going with Mickey Mantle.
no.
All right, who
I'll
do you
give you
got?
a hint, Rich. I'll give
Yeah,
you
give
a
me a
hint.
good hint.
So, whoop, I got to face the camera this way. So this is a World Series patch, 2000 World Series. The Yankees beat the New York Mets that year, I believe.
That Derek Jeter,
Nope,
Bernie Williams.
nope.
I can't guess.
Core 4, you're almost there.
Oh, Posada.
No, one more. You got it, Rich.
Oh, Girardi.
No,
Oh, no, Posada, Girardi. Like now you got me going crazy. The core 4. What's his name? The pitcher, Pettit. Damn, it took me enough.
there you go.
Andy Pettit. Was that a real jersey? Because the last name is on there. The Yankees don't put that.
Yeah,
last
no,
name.
I gotta get a real one. I'm gonna go for the Aaron Judge one. I was gonna get one for my birthday, but I never bought myself one birthday gift yet, so I'm gonna buy that now. It's so funny,
Awesome.
Rich, when you go on. I actually won a contest with Budweiser. I won a $50 gift card. So they give out the number of home runs in the series, and I guess that's how many winners they have. So I got a thing on Twitter where they sent me a Fanatics gift card, so I got $50 so I can get my Aaron Judge jersey. But it's funny, they have a protection policy. Like if the guy gets traded, you get your jersey for free. So it's funny the way they get you though, Rich, because they have it for Aaron Judge now. Is Aaron Judge going to get traded, Rich, or released from the Yankees?
No.
Right? But
No.
they have the guarantee for that one, but they don't have the guarantee for the Soto one. So, but yeah, I will be getting the Aaron Judge one without the name on the back.
All right. Yeah, that's
And also you can get the Star Insurance patch that they have at Yankee Stadium. You know, with the advertising, you get that on your jersey for an extra $10, $15. I think it is.
What is that all about? What do you think that's all about? It just sticks out like a sore thumb to me now with the advertisements on the baseball jerseys.
Did the Mets have one? I don't know if they had an advertising. Right?
Yeah,
they have
I tried to.
Hospital special surgery on their uniforms, I think.
No, it was something else. I don't remember. Probably Columbia, some Presbyterian. I think it was a
Every
hospital.
team's got it, Rich. Every team. You know, the Royals had some convenience store on their jersey and stuff. So yeah, I mean every team does it now. And then you see on the helmets, Rich, they got that advertisement on the helmets now. It's like a German uniform company that sells work uniforms to factories and stuff. I believe I forget who it is. It shows how much we concentrate on that.
Strauss.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. So that was never around. That came around in the playoffs and stuff. Also, you get the the extra minute of advertising. So even with the pitch clock, these games are still going 3.5 hours. You remember speeding up the game? Not happening.
Yeah, that's unbelievable to me. And you know what? You want to hear something crazy? I know we won't talk about it, but perfect timing for the election, dude. You know how many advertisements there are going to be for the election during the World Series? Oh my God, that is they're going to drag politics into this by like the seat of their pants, and it's going to be a shit. Well, whatever. But they're going to.
I just want to put out there. My son turns 21 on election day. That's his birthday, November 5th, and he doesn't want to be overshadowed. I basically told him, I said, what do you mean overshadowed? There's gonna be nothing settled that day anyhow. It might be 9 weeks before something's settled, but yeah. So, but yeah, you're gonna see a lot of that on the advertising in the upcoming weeks. I don't know how much the World Series baseball charges. I know we have the Super Bowl charges a lot, but I really wanted to go to one of these games, Rich. But you know how much they're charging for a ticket? $1,300. $1,300.
I saw
went on Ticketmaster. Yeah, I went on Ticketmaster, and there's actually seats available for Yankee game on Wednesday, Game 5. And they have the pinstripe pass, which you get to stand in center field at one of these social gatherings. No seat, just standing. $1,338 to stand before the Ticketmaster fees, which probably brings up to $1,500. But you do get one drink, Rich. You get a drink included, so you get a soda or a beer. How about
And
that?
what do you like? Honestly, like, and like, what do you like really, really think about that? Like, I mean, that the and it's not the Yankees, it's not the prospective teams. Like, why do they allow these second market bullshit, man? Like, when look, not for nothing. Like, you sound like but if you're like a normal dude, you're gonna really spend like if you have kids, let's say you got 3 kids, then you have to decide like if your wife's gonna come because she's not a real fan. So do I want to spend $3,500 on just a couple of tickets and they might lose? It's like they make it unreachable for like the normal guys to get. I mean, I'd rather watch these games on my couch.
So
I
I
can't
was I was
spend
speaking
all
to my
that money.
yeah, I was speaking to my buddy at work today, and we were talking about this. I mean, $1,300 to stand at a game, not even sit. I mean, and
Yeah,
to
that's
take a
nuts.
family of four, mortgage payment
It's
or World
nuts.
Series that they could possibly. But on the flip side, Rich, I think I would pay $1,300 for a Super Bowl ticket.
Yeah. My wife asked me the other day. My wife asked me, and I really mean this when I say that. She goes, what if somebody at work or something says to you, say the Mets make the World Series. And what if somebody at work says to you, is like, I got 2 tickets, let's go to the World Series. Let's go to like, game one. Let's go to a World Series game. And like me and my buddy, he's got an extra ticket for me. And my wife asked me, he's like, would you go? And I was like, no, I wouldn't go. And
Wow,
she's like,
really?
why? He's like, even if it's for free? I was like, no, I absolutely wouldn't go. She goes, if Aiden can't come with me to a World Series game, I wouldn't want to go. I would stay home with him rather
Hmm.
than go to City Field with. I don't even care even what friend it would be. Like I would stay home rather than not bring him to experience that.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty good rationale, Rich. But can you imagine though if it was Yankees and Mets? I don't think it would be $1,300 for a ticket. I think it would be $2,000 for a ticket.
So how does one like how does one go about stopping that stuff? You know what I mean? How does one go about like like, all right, look, the Yankees are going to sell these tickets. And if there's no more, there's no more. You get a bracelet. You go down to Yankee Stadium. You're only allowed to buy 4 tickets. I mean, what's so hard about that? Like, why do they allow these secondary markets to? I mean, I'm sure there's something. If there's a game 7 at Yankee Stadium, the ticket's going to be $100,000, dude.
Well, don't forget, Rich, SeatGeek, they're the official ticket seller of Major League Baseball. So they're affiliated with Major League Baseball. So it's allowed. Look at SeatGeek, $1,700 for tickets. It's crazy. And even the tickets in LA too, Rich, they're going for the same price, basically.
Yeah, but once the secondary market takes over, they're expensive everywhere. Like if you look at
Well,
the
the thing is,
original.
the fans, they have season tickets and they go during the season and then they make up their money by selling the playoff tickets. And, that's the way to do it, basically. It's like a business, basically. You're buying a full season ticket, you're getting the playoff tickets, and you're actually coming ahead of the deal, basically.
Like, how do you feel? Like, I know a lot of people. I know some people. It's a good investment. Like, you buy season tickets to a Jets, or you buy season tickets to the Mets or Yankees. Like, it's a good investment. You know what I mean? Because you could probably double your. You go to the game, you pay for your games, and you make some money. You know what I mean? Because that's, I guess, the secondary market. But it takes away a lot of the fandom. I think because of the way. The fact that me and you, like, how bad you would love to go to a Yankee game. Could you imagine going down to there and getting that bracelet and paying $100, paying $200 for 2 tickets for you and Ben just to go to a game, and there's no shipping charges and there's no internet fees and there's no beverage charges. It's just you and your son paying $100 for each ticket and going to a fucking baseball game.
Well, that's the thing, Rich. It's those stupid service fees that you get. I mean, how do you need a service fee to sell a ticket? I mean, they're not even paper tickets anymore. They go to your phone. What do you need a
Yeah.
service fee for and a handling charge? I really don't understand, but I guess that's how they make their money. But it's a percentage. But if you're buying a $1,300 ticket, you're not getting like a $20 service charge. You're getting a 20%. You're probably getting like a $200 service charge on those tickets.
It's unbelievable.
And
And
sit behind home plate, Rich, $20,000 to sit behind home plate.
like what people used to have when they were kids, like we just talked, circling back to the whole nostalgia thing and the fan thing about baseball is like there's other sports like when Jordan took that shot or like the catch, but little small moments in baseball, like I said to you, I think I said this, like a lot of those sports are like like football is like so fast paced, it's like one big moment. And then like basketball, same thing, back and forth, just like one big moment. Like baseball is a game of moments. And I know I said that a couple of weeks ago, but I really feel that way. And baseball is set up so it's like it's a game of moments, and like you get caught up in those moments, and to it kind of it's not like that anymore. I mean, do you feel that sense of like, the moments going away? Because I don't think because like they'll cut to, how visibly upset, not visibly upset, like Francisco Lindor is a nice guy, but he's not going to say anything. But that night when they won, they won and they were celebrating in Minnesota, in Milwaukee.
Walking.
And the ESPN reporter was trying to get the interview with Francisco Lindor, and Francisco Lindor was like, "Oh, I gotta go," and the announcer was just kind of like standing there. It's like they don't allow those like moments anymore. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, yeah. Well, with the dugout interviews too, like you said, Rich. I
Ah,
mean,
that's
enough with that
crazy.
already. Yeah, yeah, exactly. And not only that, they had the mics on the players during the season too. So the players have mics and they have balls getting hit to them, and it just I don't know. It changed. It's all about the media and stuff. But that's how the ratings get. People like to see that. I guess the kids like to see that. Who knows?
I guess. So what do you think? Yankees, and how many?
Yeah. um. I think Yankees in six.
Yankees in six, huh? I'm gonna have to say that I think the Yankees are gonna pull it out, but I think it's gonna go 7 games. They're gonna bring baseball fans as well as Yankee and Dodger fans on a wild ride. I think with this, I think they're gonna go to a game 7.
So today was the appetizer. Today was the New York Liberty Parade. So hopefully there'll be another parade in about a week or two in the Canyon of Heroes.
I think that's nice that they recognized, the Liberty as like, winning a championship. It's
Yeah,
they,
I spoke to my mom today, and she was pretty disgusted that a former sports WFAN guy who switched stations was downplaying it. Saying that it should have never happened and stuff. And Mr. Sid, who he got his famous from Imus, thought my mom wanted to call the show and say, hey, you know what? This is great for the girls and the women, of the world who enjoy sports because you know what? New York hasn't had a championship in how many years? And the New York
yeah.
Liberty have been around for 27 years. So you know what? Give the New York Liberty stuff like that because it's great for the city. Not only that, it brings revenue to the city. A lot of people are in the city today. They're spending money at restaurants. So for Sid Rosenberg to go on the air and downplay this, I mean, come on, Sid.
You know what? You can't downplay it, but you also have to realize too that there's one person that you have to thank for that, and she plays in Indiana. And that is and look, like
You should
it's
be at
great
one
for
of
the
the
girls.
films
I'm not saying,
today.
but they have to start these other chicks. I'm sorry, the other women have to start realizing that this girl is putting their game on the map, dude, and
Mhm,
she's
mhm.
making the game better. So stop with the bullshit with this Angel Reese, and she needs to shut her mouth. It's like you're not you know what, and I hate to say like the other night for the Liberty, I guess I don't know how many games they played, but the other night, Liberty could have won, and what's her name, Sabrina Ionescu,
Yep, yep.
missed the shot.
Mhm,
And,
mhm.
and again, I'm paying attention, and I turn around. The first thing I said to myself is, who would have made that shot? Caitlin Clark would have made that shot. So she's gonna be silent, and she's just gonna, take her licks and everything. But you know what, though, at the end of the day, she's the reason why people are saying, "Holy cow, there's a Liberty parade," you know what I mean, or whatever it is. So she's the
And
reason that.
Rich, how we work this into our basketball coverage with Fishkill. We do the girls' games, and we saw a lot of girls this year saying they, play Caitlin Clark, and
Good.
who's your favorite team? The Las Vegas Aces, whatever. I forget. I think that's her name. So a lot of these girls are getting into it now. And I can't wait to speak to some of them in March and
Yeah.
talk about this because it really came out to the scene like gangbusters this year, the WNBA, Rich. A lot of fans, and I wonder what the ratings were for the championship. I didn't see anything, but definitely more, probably double, triple than from the past, basically.
Yeah, I would assume so. I would assume so. These
Yep.
girls are out there playing every day. They're banging around like these girls. They're hungry to play. Like unlike their male counterpart over there in Philadelphia who doesn't want to play every day. These girls are playing every day, and they're can you believe this guy, Joel Embiid? Can you believe this guy?
The NBA started yesterday, right? And already he wants to take some time off, right? Him and Paul
What
George, right? On the same team now,
what's the
right?
story? And they're saying like I don't know. Paul George is from an injury from last year, and Beeb is just like he's already saying that they're going to set like the NBA is already saying that they're going to be on top of him or the team for giving him too many days or too many whatever. This guy is supposed to be the MVP or one of the faces of the NBA, and this is what he's doing. The first, I don't understand the whole load. Again, I don't want to get into it with you about the whole load management again because I know that was one of our epic feuds that we got into. But this is getting ridiculous now, Eric, where it's kind of saying like the coach is saying, Joel Embiid may only play in home games. He may not even go on the road because he needs his rest. Like, what are we even talking about right now? Like, it's getting to a point where I don't understand where their heads are at.
Now, if you're a fan of the Philadelphia 76ers, Rich, how do you feel about that? I mean,
I
when
am
guys
super
half the
pissed.
games, of course he can't win MVP. You have to play 67 games to win the MVP now. I think that's the new rule or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous that the season just started yesterday. Did he play any preseason games, Rich? Did he play in the
No,
preseason
he
at
didn't.
all?
No. And the thing is, how about this? And you know what though? This guy has been very outspoken the last like year or two because he's kind of like pissed off about a lot of things with the NBA. But I want to see Allen Iverson go down there and just smack him in the head or something and say, "What are you doing?" Like Allen Iverson's like one of the faces for the 76ers. Like, he almost brought them a championship. So it's
Right.
like, why doesn't he go down there and say, "What are you guys doing with this load management, dude?" He goes, "I'll go out there and play 48 minutes." Are you kidding me? It's embarrassing for the NBA, dude. And that the other night, like I thought it was going to be, the Knicks and the Celtics, like, yeah, but 29 3-pointers, dude. How is that fun basketball? You just kind of like take one dribble, you pull back, and you take a shot. I mean, look, granted, it's hard to hit a 3-pointer in the NBA, but everybody's perfecting it, and it's become a game of like, when are we going to score 200 points in a regular season game?
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. All-Star game had happened, right? But getting back to that for the Celtics, I watched the game, and you could definitely tell that the Knicks have to find some chemistry. I know it's only the game one and stuff, but it's going to take a while for the Knicks to get that to gel. I know they were coming off the good year last year. Some people said, they're going to win the championship this year, but I think the Celtics are a well-oiled machine, Rich. They might, they're going to do it again. I think in my
But you
mind.
know what though? That's the thing. I literally, Aiden said to me the other night, the Celtics are on, the Knicks are on. I'm like, I literally cannot pay attention to basketball until like January because
Yep.
and just knowing that they just don't play their hardest, knowing that there's players out there that are taking breaks for rest. It's like, and if I got to hear, oh my God, Bronny James was in there for 3 minutes the other night and he got a rebound. What are we doing with the NBA? Like, what is LeBron James doing with the NBA? And again, I don't want to go on a rant about how much I can't stand it because I can't, but what are we focusing on in the NBA right now? It's like, it's an unwatchable. The first 3 months are unwatchable, dude.
Look at the cartoons I put on Facebook, the NBA cartoons. But yeah, the NBA doesn't really start till Christmas anyhow. Usually, I mean, they have that stupid tournament now. That tournament last year where
Oh, God.
yeah, and the Lakers won it.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I can't anymore with that. It's crazy. It
exactly.
really is.
So
It's crazy.
I got a question for Rich.
Yeah. Shoot.
Not basketball related, but uh, the Mets are out now, right?
Yes.
A lot of Mets fans are Jets fans, right? We could say
Yes.
that. A lot of Giants fans are Yankee fans. Usually it
Yes.
works out that way. So
Yes.
with the Mets run, it looked like the Jets had a little pass there for the first 7 weeks of the season. So right now the Jets are 2-5. They fired their coach. Aaron Rodgers, I call him LeBron Rodgers because he has LeBron in him. He's got to say on what happens on the team. So they bring in Devontae Adams. The Jets are 2-5. They got a pretty favorable schedule the next 4 weeks, I guess. But now that the season's over and you're focusing all your time on the Jets, how do you feel about the season and what's going to happen? I mean, there was promise
Right.
going in, but 7
Yes.
games through, and they already 5 losses. They lose a couple more games, Rich. It's going to be hard to make the playoffs.
Now, I thought this through again, going into the season, thinking that, you're going to have a different product on the field, because we have Aaron Rodgers there, I don't know what happened I don't know what's going on with Garrett Wilson. He may even take a step backwards this year. I'm going to tell you what I think is wrong with the Jets, and it's going to sound like I'm bitching about coaching. Okay. But what I think about what's wrong with the Jets is, now I'm going to preface this by saying that I love Aaron Rodgers, dude. I love him. I love him as a guy just on podcasts. I love that he just says whatever the hell he wants. I love that he's just like a personality, like, and like he just doesn't give a shit. Like sometimes he says stupid things, and I don't think he says it because he's just trying to make waves. I just think that he's just a guy. His own family doesn't like him. You know, it's like so. It's like kind of like he's just that guy who just says whatever's on his mind. Now, with that being said, he comes to the Jets, and I was trying to look up before what the average age is of the Jets coaching staff, but it's not. There's no get off my lawn, guys. You know, if you know what I'm trying to say. So you look into the coaching situation. Okay, now Salah comes here a couple of years ago. Salah comes here and he's all, I'm crazy and I'm raw and effing cursing and yelling and screaming. It's like he didn't show one lick of that guy on the field. Okay, literally just stood there like a statue for a couple of years. Okay, now Aaron Rodgers comes in. Now you have a coaching staff there run by Robert Salah, who is, I don't even know if he was 40 at the time when he got the job. I don't know if he was, but the point I'm making is Aaron Rodgers comes to this team. Okay, now there's a bunch of guys like Earl, whatever his name is. I can't even pronounce his name. He's kind of falling into this right away, as well as I think Robert Salah did. I think Aaron Rodgers comes to this team. He's got a well-oiled machine. I made a joke the other day that that Pat McAfee is going to be our new kicker because Aaron Rodgers is getting all his boys to come play for the Jets. But that all jokes aside, I think Aaron Rodgers is in a situation where he's got coaches that don't want to tell him to shut the fuck up. Now, that I think that there's coaches on that team that are more awestruck, not even awestruck, not even like they're not a personality to where they're going to walk into a room and there's Aaron Rodgers and like, oh, I don't want to piss him off. Like I think Robert Salah wasn't trying to be buddies with him. I think Robert Salah was so caught up in this is Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to get him mad. Or if we switch up the offense, let's just let him do whatever he wants. Now, and I think that all the coaches on the team fell into that with Aaron Rodgers. And I think Aaron Rodgers being who he is, he's like, all right, well, these guys aren't doing anything. Well, maybe I got to try and do something. So maybe he was giving the plays or maybe if he was coaching. But all I know is there was a lot of penalties that went into the Jets losing those 5 games. And that's discipline, dude. And that comes from a place where if you're going offsides 3 times in the same 4 down set of plays, it's like there's something wrong with discipline there. There's something wrong with, you don't trust your cadences or whatever it may be. So, and we have a defense that should be an all-world defense. Where's Quentin Williams this year? Like, where are these guys? Like, they're supposed to be ripping people's heads off. And I think, and I hate to say it, but I think it is definitely because of the coaching. And I don't think that I think Rodgers at this point is just going to be like, all right, I'm just going to take this thing as far as I can. Like, all right, you're playing here, you're playing there, you go long. Because if you look at their play calling, it's like a high school coach or not even like somebody that doesn't really know too much about being creative about running plays, runs the offense. It's Breece Hall up the middle. It's Garrett Wilson, quick out. It's, whatever it may be. It's like, what they're going to run. 3rd and long, Breece Hall is getting the football. They have 2 running backs that they could utilize. Breece Hall could be a 4th receiver. So there's no creativity in that offense. And that from there goes to coaching. They didn't bring anybody in that was creative. And Aaron Rodgers might be trying to do stuff on the fly. He's not a coach. Maybe he thinks he is. And I think that's getting lost in translation as well because somebody, and what I mean by old curmudgeon, why not Rex Ryan or somebody that's of an elder that can say, all right, even you, shut the fuck up. Even me, coach? Yes, Aaron, even you, shut the fuck up and sit down. I'm the goddamn coach. And there's nobody there to say that to any one of those guys, I don't think, right now. There's nobody there to say, Sauce Gardner, you can cover anybody you want, but you have to tackle. Or you have to chase down these guys after they catch the ball. And there's nobody to say to him, like, it's not just you have to guard the best player on the other side of the ball. No, it's like, all right, you have this defense. It's like, Sauce Gardner might be on one. No, he has to cover the best guy on the field. So you have a well-oiled machine there with a guy who doesn't know how to be a coach, but is trying to and thinking he can, surrounded by guys who should be telling him to shut the fuck up. But again, don't get me wrong. I love Aaron Rodgers. I love him. I want him as the quarterback. I have nothing ill to say about him. I think he's entertaining. And I think, but I think he's taking on conceitedly thinking he can do it. And no one's telling him to shut the fuck up.
Right. Exactly. I mean,
I don't know if you agree with me on that. That was a little long-winded, but
it could be a disaster. I mean, Well, here's a case, here's a scenario. Say Rodgers wants to leave the Jets next year, and the Jets go into the free agent market and they bring in one Sam Darnold. How about that?
But again, that goes back to what we were talking about earlier about fandom. It's like,
Yep.
because you get your hopes up so much for that, and then all of a sudden it's just like it's shattered, and it's like, all right, well, maybe next year. Why am I going to start over with this team? Or what? It's like, that's where it comes. Like, oh my God, they break your heart, man. And then it's like, but you're there again next year. Then you can talk
Yep.
about what they're going to do and why they should do it. But the Jets, I don't know, man. I hate to say, but I think it's got to be coaching. They left Robert Salah there too long, and I think that they should have. You want to fire a coach? Like, you want to fire the head coach 5 games in? Why don't you just fire the entire staff, every single person, and just fire them and just bring in like the practice squad coaches or something. I don't know what to do, because 2-5 is not on that roster. That depth chart does not say 2-5 to me. That depth chart says 5-2.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm a little upset about with the Jets, because they have and again, it's with the same thing every single year with both of my teams. It's like, well, this year the Mets did more than I expected, and this year the Jets again are going to hit us with they do a lot less than we expected. And it's not. It's again. I can't go in there. I don't know how to be a coach. I'm not saying I do, but I always say it all the time. Me and you are 2 guys that never played professional sports, but we could be outside observers and think, man, maybe we could have done this, and we get mad because it's our passion. So they got to do something. Are they going to go 8-2? Hey, you never know.
Never know, right? Schedule's favorable. They got a couple of easy games coming up and stuff. So, you can always dream, Rich. Long way to go,
Yeah.
right?
I guess, man. I guess.
But
So.
I also like the weather, Rich. Another hobby of mine, and I just want to put it out there. Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
You ready for this one?
Yes.
80 degrees next Thursday for Halloween. 80.
So you're telling me that I could actually wear my birthday suit for Halloween?
Yep. And you know what? Just don't give away donuts, if you know what I mean. Because I'm the guy. Remember, I had that bagel thing, Rich.
Absolutely.
I worked at the nudist colony, and I served a dozen bagels. No hands. How about that? Huh?
That was definitely a good one.
Yep, exactly. So I'm ready for this World Series, Rich. Okay. I'm gonna get a good night's sleep. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow. I'm gonna work tomorrow, and 8:08 tomorrow. I'm gonna be like in all my glory.
Well, I will definitely be watching, because I'm interested to see what's going to happen. But like I said in a previous video before, I will be pulling for the Yankees. I want the Yankees to win. It's not going to ruin my day if they lose. It's not going to be like, if the Dodgers win, I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'd like the Yankees to win, but I want you as a Met fan. I know you couldn't do this for me, because we had this conversation. I will not be actively rooting and jumping down, waving my pom-poms, but they go, all right, yeah, let's go, Yankees. Let's go. Come on. Win it for New York, man. So that's my thinking of what's going on here. But if they win, I'm not going to join in on the pouring champagne either. I'm like, oh, Yankee fans, that's awesome. Go, Yankees. But, it's baseball season is over right now in my eyes.
If the Yankees win, I will take a bottle of beer, shake it up, and pour it over my head on my driveway.
That'd be a good idea. I haven't had a drink in like 2 years either, dude.
I had that drink. My wife and I, when we went away, Jody and I went away, and I made friends with the maitre d' at the restaurant. And we're sitting down at the table, and I see 2 glasses of champagne coming to the table, and you know what? Bottoms up. I had to do it. I can't just say thank you.
Just for a second here. I've had 2 beers in the last 2 years.
Wow.
Now I just stopped, because you said something to me one day, and I can never get that out of my head. Like, when you said to me, I haven't, I was like, I don't drink. And I'm like, why don't you drink? He's like, oh, I don't know. It just didn't make me feel good, or just, it wasn't really doing anything. It doesn't do anything for me. Then you said that to me. And then like one day I woke up and I'm like, I never had a problem. Like, I'm not saying like,
me neither.
I was like in my own mind. I woke up and I'm like one morning and I'm like, I have a little bit of a headache, and I had like 4 beers with my buddy last night. Like this, I don't feel good. Like, it just doesn't make me feel good, or like, so I just like stopped, I'm like, I smoke a little bit of weed there, but other than that, it's like, I just don't, I stopped enjoying it. Like, because, and if I did drink a little too much, like, the headaches and the stomach aches, but I got it. Like when you said to me, it's like, it just doesn't do anything for me. I was like, I got it. I'm like, Just doesn't do anything for me. So there you go.
I'd
So
rather,
you inadvertently helped me out with something.
I'd rather you 4 slices of pizza, Rich.
Yeah, let's do that, man. Yo, now we can do that. We could throw down with a chicken parm hero or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Would I have?
No, I saw this guy on TikTok today. A beautiful chicken cutlet, fried chicken cutlet with 2 pieces of Sicilian pizza. Chicken parm hero, dude.
Oh, I'll be at Rosie's Deli on Tuesday. I have to go to a doctor out there, so I will be getting my famous sandwich: the chicken cutlet, salami, fresh tomato, olive oil and vinegar, fresh pork, fresh. Maybe I'll do the provolone. That sounds good. Yeah, some sharp provolone on focaccia. How about that?
That sounds fantastic. All righty. Like I said, you got
Okay.
yourself a good night's sleep. Get yourself a good night's sleep. And I'm going to get myself a good night's sleep too. Tomorrow is Friday and heading into the weekend. And I don't know, dude. Good luck tomorrow night. I'm going to shoot you a text before I'll give you a call before the game. And good luck with your Yankees tomorrow.
Thanks. And yeah, we'll see my mood next week on the podcast.
Yeah. All right, dude. All right. This is the Murf and Edubbs show brought to you by Keep Talking 365. And hit that subscribe button, guys. And we both got TikTok pages now. They're getting some traffic. So if you guys like us, head over and hit that subscribe button.
You got to put some of these band, you and I talking on TikTok now.
Now that I got that. Now that I re-upped whatever I told you, I got the other plan going now. Now I can break it down into 60 seconds.
Yeah, that's how we'll get the viewership now and stuff like that. So, yep.
All right, dude. All righty. I'll talk to you later. Good luck to the Yankees.
Okay, Murph. Peace out. Thank you so much, everyone.
All right.
Go
later.
Yankees. Okay, bye.
See you later. Murf and Edubbs show. Keep Talking 365.